First, the headlines. The Office of the President hereby informs the general public that all those that were convicted during the PPP regime before 1994 are all been duly pardoned by His Excellency the President of the Republic. More than 200 prisoners pardoned by President Jammeh reunite with their families and loved ones in what was an emotionally charged day at the administrative headquarters of the Gambia Prison Services. The director of the Russian Federation for Narcotics Traffic Control, Viktor P. Ivanov, bids farewell to Vice President Jai Sedi a day after Banjul played host to the Russia-Africa Anti-Drug Conference. And Nigeria edges closer to 1 year since its last confirmed polio case, but the West African country still faces tough challenges in its bid to be certified a polio-free nation. Well, these and other stories coming ahead this half hour. I am Winifred Nicole Hadibat. Thanks for joining us once again. The Office of the President hereby informs the general public that all those that were convicted during the PPP regime before 1994 are all been duly pardoned by His Excellency the President of the Republic, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh Babili Mansa. The Ministry of Interior has issued a press release on the President's prerogative of mercy in observance of the 21st of the July 22nd Revolution. It reads, the general public may recall that in observance of the 21st anniversary of the 22nd July Revolution, His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh Babili Mansa, has decided to release the following category of prisoners from custodial sentence. 1. All those convicted of murder and have served more than 10 years of their sentence. 2. All those convicted of treason from July 1994 to 2013. 3. All those convicted of possessing cannabis, except repeated offenders. 4. All those convicted of trafficking in cocaine and other hard drugs and have served more than 5 years of their sentence. 5. All those convicted of raping persons above 21 years. And 6. All foreigners convicted of rape, murder and drug trafficking and armed robbery. The foreigners are to be deported immediately upon their release. The general public is being informed that as a result of this magnanimous gesture by His Excellency the President of the Republic, 227 convicted prisoners were released. 175 Gambians and 52 foreign nationals. Furthermore, the general public is being informed that Mr. Mamburenjai has been pardoned by His Excellency the President of the Republic. Barely 3 days after the nation celebrated the 21st birthday of the July 22nd Revolution, the presidential message that centered on forgiveness was not what many had expected. Today, Friday, saw more than 200 freed prisoners reuniting with their loved ones after years behind bars for both capital and minor offenses, commanding the death and life sentences. Louis Mendy was at the Gambia Prison Services headquarters and he prepared this report.
Over 200 inmates that were granted presidential amnesty Friday morning made it home to join their loved ones. At the Gambia Prison Service headquarters, it was tears of joy when the family members arrived to embrace and welcome home their loved ones after months and years behind bars, charged with treason, murder, drug trafficking, robbery, and were to face death, life imprisonment, or maximum jail terms. Looking healthy but homesick, the inmates couldn't help but paid gratitude to the Gambian leader for the presidential pardon.
I was charged for treason and I was convicted, sentenced to life. I feel very grateful to Almighty Allah and very grateful to His Excellency the President for granting us a pardon. And I want to pray for him for long life, good health and prosperity, and may Allah give him the strength to be able to steer the affairs of this country to higher heights.
Abuse of office, we want to thank the Almighty Allah for having preserved us and gave us the strength, to witness this day. And we thank our parents and, for their prayers and, all the loved ones. And we would want to thank His Excellency the President. When I heard the news, on Wednesday, I said, the President has stolen the show again. He has done, all the unexpected. And he has shown that the type of person he is, caring and who can forgive and then forget.
A sizable number of youths pardoned as first-time offenders in cannabis did not only confess regret, but prayed that God distance them from drug and other illegal activities till eternity. The youths also heap praises on the President for the show of mercy.
First, I thank God for this occasion day, for God making this day a possible day, and thank the President of the Republic of the Gambia for God making him be a true Muslim.
Senegalese, Nigerians, and a Dutch national, forming part of a larger number of non-Gambians charged for possessing cannabis and cocaine, now free custody of the President, are set for immediate deportation.
I thank him sincerely for his kindness, for he's a really God-fearing man. We are all happy, and everybody in the prison all over the country are happy. They see what he has done. We are all grateful for his generosity.
Whatever he have done so much that is unbelievable. Nobody could do that for us. I'm speaking specific for myself. He done too much. I wish he be there till the end of time.
The 6 Venezuelans charged for possessing cocaine sometime in the past were also pardoned. I asked them whether such an act can be granted amnesty in Venezuela. The answer was nunca, nunca, which translates no, no.
I want to tell the nation that they have the greatest leader can ever be, that only somebody with the kind of mercy in his heart can do what he has done today.
Speaking earlier to now free inmates, Lami Nyabali, the Secretary General, Head of Civil Service and Minister responsible for Presidential Affairs, and Honorable Usman Sonko, the Minister of the Interior, warned them to remain calm while enjoying their freedom and to only engage themselves in productive ventures as good citizens.
This is a memorable occasion and it's a memorable day. I'm sure all of you by now would have known that through the benevolence of His Excellency the President of the Republic, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yaya Eje Jammeh Babile Mansa, a number of prisoners were released sometime in the month of Ramadan as a gesture for the holy month of Ramadan, 85. And today we are witnessing the release of another 200 and something prisoners. Now, this can only happen if we have a leader of the likes of President Jammeh.
First of all, I would want to thank His Excellency the President for this benevolence. And I want to thank him for his sympathy and concern for the Gambian people. Because this is history. History in the sense that I've never heard anywhere in this world where a president pardons prisoners who have been convicted of treason, murder, talk less of drug trafficking. Because we've seen in most cases, even those convicted for drug trafficking are executed. And those convicted for treason, by the time you know what is happening, they are executed. But here is His Excellency the President, who has pardoned people who were even condemned to death. Some were supposed to serve life imprisonment, and some were supposed to serve 25, 30 years imprisonment. And with all that, because his fear in the Almighty Allah, and his fear in his belief in the Holy Quran, which is the Holy Scripture, made him to have that sympathetic mind to free these people on this holy month of Ramadan, and even in celebration of the anniversary of the July 22nd anniversary.
The historic gesture of forgiveness demonstrated by President Jammeh came at the heels of the 21st anniversary of the 22nd July revolution, the Interior Minister said, symbolizes reconciliation rapid socio-economic transformation, caring, and above all, forgiveness. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
7 young Gambian men who were serving time for drug-related offenses were on Friday morning released from Janjanbureh prison. The solemn ceremony, presided over by the Deputy Central River Region Governor, Malang Saibo Kamara, came after the President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jame Babili Mansas pardoned convicts serving time for murder, rape, drug trafficking, and treason. The elated former convicts thanked President Jammeh for his magnanimity and promised never to return to criminal activities. We hope to bring you that story in our tomorrow's news bulletin. The director of the Russian Federation for Narcotics Traffic Control, Viktor P. Ivanov, has expressed hope that the outcome of Thursday's Russia-Africa Anti-Drug Conference could bring to light a wide range of drug-related issues in the international fora. Mr. Ivanov, who left the Gambia today, earlier bid farewell to the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Her Excellency Aja Dr. Aisatunjai Sedi. The Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Dr. Abubakar Senghor, this morning inaugurated the board of the newly formed National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority. The authority, as we hear in this report by Rohi Bitey, is mandated to perform a range of functions critical to the advancement of the country's tertiary and higher education sector.
They gathered for the inauguration of the board of the newly formulated Council of the National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority. The authority, which is formed by an act of parliament, is said to be part of ongoing reforms at the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. The newly formed body, according to officials, will take over the National Training Authority in a broader scope and mandated to focus on providing quality higher and tertiary education. Piers Barry also hailed the National Training Authority for the efforts made over the years, but according to him, the NTA was facing shortcomings which were not in its mandate. This new council is expected to promote the expansion of higher education.
The authority would also be responsible to accredit and ensure quality at the level of all tertiary and higher education institutions. This was found to be very important and relevant, not only because the new institutions that are sprouting out are showing interest in building beyond only training at skills level, but also going instituting higher education in this country. And because the government is promoting education at all levels, both between the private and public sector, it has therefore judged it necessary to help and support and promote the expansion of the higher education sector.
Among the tasks of the new body is to center on registering institutions within the Gambia that offers courses that have met minimum tertiary and higher education standards with respect to student enrollment. It will also provide accreditation for degree, non-degree, and specialized programs, in addition to establishing relationships with national and external accrediting and quality assurance bodies, and to keep under review their system of accreditation procedures and practices. The new board is equally expected to deliver in ensuring that the country's higher and tertiary education sector meets its desired standard.
I want to call upon all the private sector, particularly those of you that are outside there watching, to join hand with us in promoting higher education, or the education sector in general, and the higher education subsector in particular. And I call those of you who are outside this endeavor to kindly redirect a lion's share of their private, their corporate responsibility financing to supporting the higher education subsector. Because there's a lot on the ground for this ministry, which is potentially the largest ministry of government. This is only one of very important and independent institutions that we have to create. There are others lining up.
The fact that this is the first of its kind in the country indicates the relevance of this body. Minister Senghor wasted no time to remind the members about their responsibilities.
Remember that majority of people who attend these institutions are either Gambians or are people who remain within the four corners of this country. And the government and the people of the Gambia, thank God Mr. Chairman mentioned employability, expect these people, when they are pumped into the market, to be able to contribute immensely to the development process of this country.
Speaking on behalf of his board members, the chair of the newly elected board, Idrissa Mas Job, hailed His Excellency the President for entrusting them with the role to serve as board members. Job also touched on the significance of education, describing it a product with a high price tag. He also called for focus to be not only centered on the formal education, but also informal, while calling for the inculcation of values in the education system. He promised on behalf of his team to deliver as expected.
Globally, there is an increasing tendency to see higher education as a product with a price tag. So excuse the business parallels, but it's a product with a price tag, and there is growing interest to the extent to which the academic programs of study would promote students' employability and earning power. And I think that is one of the flavors that would be very important. If people spend their time and their money, that is the human capital, after 4 years, after 3 years, after 2 years, we should be able at some point to measure how that has impacted their ability to have work and how it has impacted their ability to earn more.
With a broad mandate and scope, they are expected to start work in earnest to contribute immensely to the promotion of quality higher and tertiary education in the Gambia. Rohibitei, GRTS.
The Gambia Police Force has received traffic equipment and other materials from a familiar donor. German-based Gambian philanthropist Dauda Sarr has been extending a hand of help to the police for more than 2 decades. Babka Senghor tells us more.
Donated items include 9 pieces of 30-meter-long tape blinds, 10 digital cameras, and an assortment of stationery and digital equipment, which, according to the donor, was prompted by the urgent need to provide such materials to the police force. While in Europe, Dauda Sarr said, "I do see the police use this equipment in dealing with traffic incidences, and so I decided to make a donation of the same materials to the Gambia Police Force." The importance of the donated items, according to top echelon of the Gambia Police Force, is paramount to their daily operations. These materials are expected to ease the work of the police, particularly its mobile traffic components. Deputy Inspector General of Police, Modu Sow, thanked the donor for the gesture, which he said will greatly enhance the road traffic safety and national security at large.
These equipments that he has donated to the Gambia Police Force today will enhance the capacity and the capability of the traffic department in their accidents investigations. Like he rightly stated, when there are RTAs, the markers we use are too customary and orthodox. So to modernize, these few of these items will go a long way in enhancing the effectiveness and the effective functions of the traffic components of the Gambia Police Force.
Receiving the items on behalf of the police, Interior Minister Usman Sonko described the gesture as timely and beneficial, while thanking Dauda Sarr for his support and patriotism. He said the police force has benefited from series of assistance, including this latest one. Minister Sonko used the opportunity to caution drivers to adhere to traffic rules and avoid speeding. He argued that high-speed driving has been the main cause of road accidents. He also urged the police to make best use of the items.
The donated equipment, which is in the form of jocks, camera, and a tape line, will no doubt enhance the efficiency and professionalism of our traffic officers, because accidents are becoming more critical, accidents are becoming more serious. Thus the need to have sophisticated equipments that would be able to help in the discharge of their duties. Because these cameras, for instance, when accident scenes happen, they would now have the opportunity firsthand to take shots of the vehicle or the person involved and all whatnot, which could be used later in the investigations and the end results, which is if the matter is to go to court, they could also be tendered as evidence.
Daud Assad, whose association with the Gambia Police Force dates back to 1993, took the opportunity to urge others to come to the aid of the Gambia Police Force. For GRTS News, this is Babukar Senghor.
In accordance with Section 42 and 52 of the Elections Act, Mr. Kaba Toure has been duly nominated through the APRC party ticket to contest for the position of National Assembly member for Lower Salem constituency. A press release from the Independent Electoral Commission indicates that Mr. Modu Bambagay has also been nominated through the NRP for the position of the National Assembly member for the same constituency. Therefore, in accordance with Section 53, subsection 2A of the same Elections Act, election will take place on the 6th of August 2015 in order to fill the position of the National Assembly member for Lower Salem constituency. We will be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break. Sea level is one of the major environmental challenges facing developing countries, such as the Gambia. Experts have given stark warnings about what will happen and how certain cities will disappear if something is not done to avert a major environmental problem. So be aware of climate change.
Banjul, Gambia. This West African city is nestled up beside the Atlantic Ocean and faces the threat of rising sea levels. On top of that is the possibility of coastline erosion, which increases the chance that the city will submerge underwater. Even worse is the prospect that the rise in sea levels could disrupt the city's rice production, which is a vital part of their economy.
Welcome back. Polio has been eradicated in all but 3 countries around the world: Nigeria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. One of those countries is about to reach a major milestone. Nigeria would mark 1 year since its last confirmed case of polio. But there is still work to do. CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta traveled to a remote village in Nigeria, and this is his report.
These communities, I mean, how do they receive you? Do they welcome you?
Yes, for the hard to reach, we don't have problem with that. People actually welcome it because we have other interventions. We don't just bring polio, we bring other routine antigens.
So the check, that's a good thing. That's
it's
what you're looking for.
It's a very good thing. It means that all the children there will receive their immunization.
If a child or the parents refused, what would you write then?
If the child or the parent refuses, we will put an R and an X. So it means rejection.
I mean, how big a problem is that?
It's a big issue because for us, there is no child that we want to leave unimmunized.
What is the most challenging part of the job for you?
For me, is ensuring that we don't miss any child. Missing a child means we are not going to get the desired coverage. That is one. Missing a child means that there is a potential case for white polio virus. That is the most challenging thing, ensuring that we don't have missed children.
We will now go with the weather report, thanks to the Central Forecast Office.
Everything as you know it starts here. That simple promise of a harvest, service to the community that you and I are a part of. We carry on bonding and sharing because the feeling to serve is mutual. But that promise between us, the sun and the land, is what gives us the hope to carry on. I are a part of. We carry on bonding and sharing because the feeling to serve is mutual. But that promise between us, the sun and the land, is what gives us the hope to carry on. And as it was in the beginning, we started with a belief to serve. Elton, a new vision of service.
Hello, this is the weather update from the Central Forecast Office. But first, we will begin with a summary of the day's outlook. We've experienced partly cloudy and humid conditions across the entire country during the day. Over now to the satellite image where we can see convective clouds over central and parts of eastern Africa. And over Mali here we can see convective clouds prevailing across this region, and this is moving toward the Senegambia area, and this will eventually cause thunderstorm and rain over affected places. Now tonight we're expecting partly cloudy, warm and humid conditions with thunderstorm and rain over places, and the same particular condition is going to prevail tomorrow. Now during this period we'll experience northwesterly winds over the coastal areas and southwesterly winds over the inland, and this will be running at 10 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures will be 22 degrees over Greater Banjul, 23 over West Coast, North Bank, and the Lower River, and this will go up to 24 degrees Celsius over Central and Upper River regions respectively. And this will go up to a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius, as we can see, over Upper River and Central River, and this will drop down to 32 over Lower River and North Bank, and we can see 31 degrees over West Coast and 30 degrees Celsius over Greater Banjul. Now at 10 a.m. we'll have a low tide of 0.7 meter and 0.6 meter at 10 p.m. At 4 a.m. we'll have a high tide of 1.3 meter and 1.4 meter at 4 p.m. At 6:45 the sun will rise and sets at 19:38. Thank you for joining us and good night.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. The Office of the President informs the general public that all those that were convicted during the PPP regime before 1994 are all being duly pardoned by His Excellency the President of the Republic. More than 200 prisoners pardoned by President Jammeh have been reunited with their families and loved ones in what was an emotionally charged day at the administrative headquarters of the Gambia Prison Services. The director of the Russian Federation for Narcotics Traffic Control, Viktor P. Ivanov, today bid farewell to Vice President Jai Sedi, a day after Banjul played host to the Russia-Africa Anti-Drug Conference. And Nigeria is marking 1 year since its last confirmed polio case, but the West African country still faces tough challenges in its bid to be certified a polio-free nation. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. From me, Winifred Nicole Hodibat, and the entire news team, thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.